Kaleidoscope Youth Center is the largest and longest serving organization in Ohio to serve and support LGBTQI+ youth and young adults. We serve young people ages 12 to 24 through 4 main departments. One is our center-based programming, which houses our drop-in center. We also do provide resources, basic needs such as personal care items, toiletries, food, meals, bus tickets, things of that nature.
And then if someone needs more robust services, what we are able to do is connect them with our community-based wellness program,
which has our 3 housing programs: rapid rehousing, supportive co-housing, and emergency housing. We have case management available, and then also our newest initiative is our Community Wellness Initiative, which will provide a behavioral health therapist to the community on an outpatient basis, but also within our programs, young people in our drop-in center, our case management and housing programs. We look at things like mental health symptoms, suicide attempts, self-harm, gestures. I would say between 40 and 50% are represented by our young people, and those numbers increase in communities of color, for our transgender and non-binary youth, and for the more intersections of diversity that exist, those numbers tend to go up even higher.
When there's a affirming and supportive person in their immediate family, we actually know that it decreases their chances of, attempting or even having suicidal ideation by a significant amount. And 30 and 40% of youth have said that with that supportive person, they no longer have any thoughts whatsoever.
There are so many queer and trans youth that go to providers that really have no idea how to treat someone with their identity. And so they come out feeling unaffirmed, feeling like there's something wrong with them, feeling like there are pieces of themselves that they are not able to bring into that session, when in reality that conversation could really help in the situation that they're in. We also hear from a lot of queer and trans youth that they feel responsible for educating their providers, which is inappropriate and shouldn't be happening. So we should have healthcare providers and mental health and behavioral health care providers that understand going into meetings with clients and patients, the basics of where they're coming from.
And Genderscope is probably one of our longest running kind of affinity program. It started in 2011, and it is for transgender and non-binary young people. There's this window of knowing where we know what it means to be trans or to be exploring, that it's not an explanation, it's more of an affirmation.
Those peer-to-peer experiences are really one of the heart and backbone of KYC, particularly because we know that our youth feel more comfortable when they can see themselves represented in the youth who are coming here, as well as our staff and volunteers.
We have our group for queer youth of color, and that emerged from our young people. In 2018, 2019, we saw a significant increase of young people of color attending. We went from about 31% to 49%. Within that, our young folks realized they also wanted something that was specific to their needs, to the things they want to celebrate and issues that are mattering to them.
These mental health challenges just compound, and we know that for our youth with intersectional identities, it can be even more difficult, particularly if you don't have a family who's supportive of accessing those mental health services. Maybe they don't even know where to go. I think that's a really big challenge that a lot of families struggle with, is they don't really know who to ask for help or how to ask for that help.
And then we've got our parents group, of course, which provides support, education to parents of trans, non-binary youth. And that's actually how it started, but it's really for any parent or caregiver who is taking care of a young person who comes to our center, who is in the community.
Anyone who is within the family of LGBTQ+ youth are welcome to join us. And it operates as a social peer space for these parents to connect with others, talk about maybe the challenges and struggles that they're having, and then hear from other parents who've maybe already navigated those situations and could provide some advice or just be able to talk them through those situations a little bit more easily.
We want to take what's here and be able to put it out there in the world. And so Kaleidoscope isn't the only place that young people get to experience affirmation and belonging. And so if we can support caregivers, that makes all the difference for our youth. And so we know our youth are 120% more likely to be homeless than their peers. and that they represent about 40% of the entire homeless population. That's a really large number, close to 3,000 people who are part of the LGBTQI community who are here in Central Ohio without a place guaranteed to lay their head each night. Something that we love to celebrate about our housing programs is they are extremely low barrier. They are the first in Central Ohio that we know of to center the needs and experiences of LGBTQI plus youth and young adults. So we know the shelters aren't always safe for our young people. So one thing that we've been able to do through generous donations from the community is pass out sleeping bags and tents, blankets, pillows, and then again, basic needs. And so we've got food that doesn't require can openers because most folks who are homeless don't have can openers. Those types of things that are easy access for them to make sure that their basic needs are met. If we can disrupt the potential for the crises that typically follow homelessness, that's really the overarching goal for our programs.
We offer education programs either live in person or virtually.
We are the hub for the Ohio GSA Network, which provides leadership and guidance to youth leaders and their adult allies within the schools. And then we also do training and workshops across the state. And so that's for youth serving providers, mental health, physical, any type of providers, but also community members, parents, and caregivers, and some corporate entities.
They're individualized to the organization that's requesting them. So we have a web page on our website that has information about our education and training program. There's a form right there that folks can fill out to request a training.
Because we know that oftentimes it really doesn't have to do with an individual not liking this community, but there may be that there's a misunderstanding or that they haven't had the opportunity to learn or connect with someone who identifies within this community.
Our most commonly requested programs are Gender and Sexuality 101 or Cultivating, Affirming, and Belonging for LGBTQ youth. So just kind of helping youth serving professionals understand the ins and outs of gender, supporting LGBTQ young people, how to create those safe spaces in their professions, and really offer those safe spaces of support.
We think it's really important that we're those adults for our young people, as well as trying to train other adults all over, whether it's in their schools, community groups, churches, all over the place. We want these spaces to be safe and affirming for our LGBT young people.
And so our goal is really we should be giving them that feeling in other places besides just this one little location in Columbus.
If I see a rainbow, I usually know that this is going to be potentially a safer space. If you advertise openly that you are LGBTQ plus friendly, I am definitely more likely to go there, knowing that someone might understand my identity and experience a little bit more. And maybe I won't have to teach the person who is the professional about my identity.
Normalize asking someone's pronouns, sharing your pronouns after you share your name. We know we can't just look at people and know everything about them.
One of the best things to do is to talk about us. Reach out to organizations like us at Kaleidoscope, and we can provide that training to you and your staff members to talk about, ways that you can create affirming environments for LGBTQ plus youth.
When you're doing discharge work for the mental health organizations, you don't have to know someone's sexual orientation and gender identity to just make that referral. It's like a universal precaution kind of. Just offer it to everyone because we don't know always how someone's identifying, what they're going through, or if they're going to pass it on to someone else.
Providing those kind of resources could potentially be that life-saving moment for a young person. If they're scrolling through your page and happen to see that you're advertising Kaleidoscope or the Trans Lifeline or the Trevor Project, they may be a lot more likely to engage with one of those services.
And we know affirmation and belonging is really a basic human need. We all need it. But especially when you are part of a marginalized community, what I know for sure is that when we begin to meet the basic needs of individuals and communities, that's when they get to thrive. Then we know people are more likely to be able to make decisions that aren't from a place of oppression, they aren't from a place of survival, but they're actually clear choices, they're clear decisions, they're thriving, and we get to be a soft landing while all that gets to occur.
If I would have had access to a space like this when I was in high school or even middle school at that 12 and 13 age, it would have saved a lot of hours of darkness in my life, to be honest. The youth that I've seen come through here who, on the first day, I can look into their eyes and really see the pain that they're experiencing, and 3 months later, seeing them blossom with friends running around here, that is one of the most amazing experiences to me, is when our young people feel like they can just be.
I truly believe that something different is possible, that we can create worlds and experiences that affirm belonging, that are interdependent and built in community, where people get to be free and liberated within themselves and in their world. And I believe that we all deserve that and deserve to thrive. Are you kind to people? Are you considerate? Are you compassionate? Do you look them in the eye? Do you let people talk? Do you listen? All of those things that we know honors the humanity in another person, that's also being a good ally.